what we thought was incredibly hard standards in the 5 and the 10K. Everyone has it on both the men's and women's side for the most part.
Yeah.
The one event, I guess maybe 2 events that were very limited on people with the standard is the steeple and the men's 1500. Men's 1500 right now, Matt Centrowitz, Craig Engels, and Josh Thompson have the standard. And then John Gregoric, Ben Blankenship, and Sam Prakel are in via world ranking, which they're eventually their world ranking is going to go down as time moves on. So they have to maintain a high level of performance to stay in there. But when you look at that, that's the glaring event in my mind is the men's 1500 with only 3 guys with the standard.
Seems to be a pattern. If I told you over under 6.5 guys on the starting line for the final with the standard at the trials, you take the over or the under?
I'll take. Ooh, that's a good number. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You could see, you talked about Hawker and Nagoose, some college kids getting the mark. But we're at what? 90 days?
Yeah.
To go? So we're 3 months to go. They're going to have to start hitting this pretty soon. And I bet Centro and Engels and Thompson are very lucky that they have it in their back. They're very fortunate they have it in their back pocket.
And they've had it. It's not like the standard window opened yesterday. The standard window's been open since May of 2019. Now, again, we get it. Not many people are running in 2020, but people still, there were track meets in 2020. But for some reason, the 1500 is the event where people do not, on the men's side, do not want to run sub 335. It's just mind-boggling.
Do you think it's going to, if more people get it, a good, decent chunk, enough to assure you that it's not going to be an issue at the trials, do you think that's going to come with a bunch of one-off races with performances, or do you think we're going to see a race in the U.S. where 4 guys in the same race run 334, 333?
No, we're not going to see that. I think it's going to come on one-offs. I think it's going to be, hey, I had my moment, got it. All right, me, I got, boom, I think,
I kind of believe that too, especially because of the presence of the collegians in here. Maybe they'll go to a big meet and do it. I don't know, but you could see Hawker knocking it out, just using his Oregon teammates to pace him. You could see Nagoose hopping in a race and getting that standard. Yeah, I think I would take the over as well too. Contrast that to the women's 15. This is the women's 15. Here, who has it? Shelby Houlihan, Jenny Simpson, Eleanor Purrier, Nikki Hiltz, Shannon Osika, Rachel Snyder, Kate Grace, Helen Schlachterhoffen, Sinclair Johnson, Alexa Ephraimson, Corey McGee, Heather McLean, Elise Cranny. Okay, no, and then these people these people are in the queue, in the quota for world rankings. McLean, Cranny, Jones, and Mackey. But I don't think anybody's worried about the women's 15. I don't think anybody's worried about the women's 5. This is the women's 5. My goodness. Schweizer, Frazier, Infeld, Sisson, Pahalski, Purrier, Simpson, Hall, Houlihan, Frericks, Cranny, Conley, Robury, Schneider, Lapari, Monson, Jorgensen, Huddle. And then you have Garcia in the rank. You have people there who's not even on the 5K. 5K is not even their best event. And they have it on the women's side. They have people to spare in there. But that men's 15. And you also mentioned the men's steeple. Bohr, Cabini, and Bear have it. The notable omission there is Jaeger, who I think would knock it out as soon as he gets the opportunity to race another steeple. Steeple's weird. They didn't do steeple last year. And there were track meets, but you could not really find a steeple. The Diamond League had it, there was some European meets that had it, but you did not see any of those pop-up meets, any one-off meets. Anything else that we should keep an eye on these rankings? Everything else looks pretty smooth. I mean, men's 10 has what, 6 people with it, but that's a pretty decent number.
Paul Chelimo doesn't have the 10K standard, so maybe him and Lenny Corrier, so those American Distance Project crew don't have a lot of the 10K standards, so they're probably going to want remember Paul Chelimo was looking at the 10K, 5K double, try
Yeah.
to get the 10K standard, didn't get it, so then he went all in on the 5. So I think Paul Chelimo running the 10 is going to be an interesting factor if we ever get that, because he can kick. And then, I mean, some field events, a lot of people have. I mean, we're kind of, I don't know, like we don't have like in the field events, we don't have anyone with the standard in the decathlon or the javelin. So it's just interesting, kind of looking at it, seeing where it is and where it isn't. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a sprinter out there, like well, Ronnie Baker doesn't have the standard. We talked about this. He still doesn't have it. He's
from 2019. Yeah,
he's still in the world rankings quota, but he does not have the standard. But in the end, the standard doesn't really matter for sprinters, because if you're not running sub 10, you're not getting top 3.
Well, the problem with it though is when the wind kicks up at the trials and you get a bunch of non-wind legal marks, those USATF meets, they're going to take place throughout April, May, into June. Those are going to be, I think, key for just hunting standards. But if you're hurt, it doesn't really help you. And that's where we've seen this is somebody's banged up, they get very little runway, and then they show up to the trials or USAs and try to make a late run. That's when it becomes difficult. That was Isaiah Harris in 2019, to the point where he had to lead in Des Moines because he didn't have the standard. So he had to get top 3 and the standard, try to hit the bank shot there.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out for him. That's not the situation you want to be in going into the trials. When I look at these, I like to imagine, okay, is there a person not on this list that I think could make the team? And for a lot of these, for most of them, the answer is no. Even when you have like the men's 5,000, for example, is someone other than, let's see this list: Kincaid, Lamong, Centro, Fisher, Chelimo, Bohr, McGorty, Klecker, Kipchirchir, True, Jenkins, Arasa. And then you have Mead, Bohr, and Simbasa in the world rankings. Is somebody other than that group going to get top 3? It's hard to think of a name.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Cooper Tier would be one.
Okay.
But like the odds of him getting top, and then hey.
Cole Hawker?
I was Cole Hawker.
Yeah.
But I was going to say Nico Young. But I mean, it's really just college kids when it comes to these distance events. That's basically what I'm getting to.
And the college kids will have a shot, right? The college kids will have a shot because the college kids are going to put themselves in a fast race.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that Tier does get this. These things don't get locked until right before the trials. Yeah. So good work by you.
I know someone. Connor Manson, the 10K. That's probably one. Right. That's gonna be an interesting, actually, when we think about it, because I'm sure he's like thinking, like, I mean, he's a aerobic machine. I wouldn't put it past Connor to be in the mix in a 10K final. You never know. So maybe him and trying to chase a fast 10K mark will be something he tries to do, which will be hard to do in an NCAA season because then you have to come back and regionals and all that stuff. So maybe that's one. I think it's just college kids really are the ones that you kind of look at as like, oh, they don't have it.
But I'm saying if you had some sort of fancy algorithm and you put in all the names, how many times would someone in the top 3 in the 10,000 come up with not Lamong, Fisher, Kincaid, True, Jenkins, or Kipchirchir? I think some combination of that group would account for a huge percentage of the probable outcomes in the 10,000, for example.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. You're 100% right.
But the college kids will have a shot here. But men's 15, always exciting. Always got to keep your eye on the men's 15.